A majority of Joe Biden's supporters are with him primarily because he's not Donald Trump and not really for any other reason. That's according to a new Pew Research poll. Now, the top line of that poll gives Biden a fairly healthy lead over Trump. It's well beyond the margin of error, and if that's accurate, he's going to win in November. That's the good news. But the bad news is that in various data points, it shows that Trump has a massive enthusiasm advantage over Joe Biden. If you look at the division of supporters by whether they're leaning supporters, they're moderately strong, or they're very strong, Biden's supporters are divided between the moderate and the strong supporters, whereas the vast majority of Donald Trump's supporters are strong supporters. Now, again, why that could matter is that when it comes to getting out and voting when it's not safe to vote, or when it comes to the people that are going to donate a little bit extra, put up the lawn signs, knock on doors, do all the little things in close races, Trump may have an advantage over Biden. That if the race doesn't end up being close, it won't matter, but that in those tight races in key states, enthusiasm could tip the balance to Donald Trump. And that should be a major concern for the Biden campaign, because that's sort of what happened to Hillary Clinton back in 2016. But if you look specifically at the question of why you're with someone, that's where this data could spell trouble for Joe Biden. And even if it doesn't, it should give pause to what a Biden victory actually means. And so the question is as follows. In your words, what is the main reason you support or lean towards blank in the 2020 presidential election? And it's given in terms of percent. And what you see for Trump is people are actually pretty well distributed on this question. No one answer for Trump gets over 25 or below 10. Some people like his leadership. Some like his policies. Some like it. Some like him because he's not Biden. But that's only 19% of his supporters. When you look at Biden's numbers in particular, 56% of the people that are voting for Biden list their top reason for that vote being that he's not Donald Trump. That means that basically there's no strong support for Biden based on his leadership, his policies, how his party performs, or anything like that. It's almost entirely he's not Trump. And again, right now that's working. Right now that's working. And across most polls, it's working very well. Trump is just that bad, guys. He's just that bad, and he's doing just that bad as president that it might work this time. But there's a real risk that if Biden starts to slip, if Biden starts to anger people or concern people, then he could start to lose some of his softer voters. Maybe they won't go to Trump, but maybe they'll go third party or they'll stay home. Because currently, for a majority of the voters Joe Biden has, they are not with him for him. They're purely voting negatively. They are voting negatively. And maybe that's the right decision. Like, the alternative is Trump. But that's not how you build a movement. I know that with Barack Obama, people voted for him. People voted for Barack. Hillary, they voted less for Hillary than they voted against Trump. But Trump voters love Trump. I don't know why, but they do. They love him. And so that enthusiasm matters. And I really, really am concerned, guys, that this could be a replay of 2016. Now, 2020 is not 2016. The polls are better for Biden than they were for Clinton at this stage. They're consistently good for Biden. And we have to remember that unlike last time, Trump actually has a record to run on. He actually has to play some defense. He wasn't a guy without a single legislative vote and could sort of say whatever he wanted. He can still say whatever he wants, but he would have had 4 years of being president to be critiqued and remembered on. And a lot of people are going to look at those 4 years and react negatively, including people that voted for him, including people that were, that are now never Trump Republicans. And I think that's a disadvantage that he didn't have 4 years ago. So this is not me suggesting that Trump is actually winning right now. I don't believe he is. But it shows how easily he could return to a position where winning is possible. And I don't think Biden supporters and Harris supporters, the blue MAGA, the people that actually believe in the corporate Democratic Party, understand how precarious Joe Biden's lead might actually be given this. But put that all aside. Even if Biden does win, and again, I think it looks likely, what the argument is going to be from the Biden camp and from the Never Trump Republicans and from, the corporate Democratic Party leadership is that this was a vote for Joe Biden's vision for America. And now we have to implement that vision, which is going to be largely a corporate Democratic vision. As Wall Street has been saying, they've breathed a sigh of relief based on the Biden-Harris ticket. They are relieved that they're not dealing with a Bernie ticket. They're not even dealing with Biden picking a progressive VP. They have a good old-fashioned corporate Democrat ticket to be the alternative to Trump. And the narrative, again, is going to be, this is what the people wanted. When in reality, as we're seeing, at least in this poll, a majority of the people voting for Biden do not want Biden. A majority of the people voting for Biden just don't want Trump. And Biden is the vehicle towards that end. He is the means towards that end. And so, when Biden wins, if Biden wins, but hopefully he does win, people have to realize that he does not have a mandate, not in a moral sense, to enact his neoliberal vision. And that what's clear is that what people actually want is what Bernie Sanders was offering. People want Medicare for all, a Green New Deal. People want genuine support for a working class centered program for America. That's what they want. They don't want Joe Biden. So when Biden wins, you're going to see a lot of people say, especially when they're criticizing the left of the Democratic Party or the left of the United States that's not in the Democratic Party. They're going to say, give Biden and Harris a chance. The American people gave them a mandate and they have a mandate to enact their policies, but they don't. They don't. They had a mandate to not be Trump. That's all they are. They've gotten that. They deserve nothing else by default. From day one, they should be opposed because from day one, they've never got elected on anything they were actually planning to do, just on everything that they weren't, which is not Donald Trump. That's what's crucial here. So remember that. Biden's in a more precarious position than the polls indicate. He needs to look at how he can actually get some of those numbers besides the he's not Trump up. Maybe it's endorsing Medicare for all, for goodness sakes. Maybe it's realizing that he needs to reach out to young people and progressives and Latinos more organically. Maybe people like AOC deserve more than 60 gosh darn seconds to speak at a convention. If you do those things, you might turn a few of those he's not Trump voters into, hey, maybe Biden's policies are okay. Maybe they're good even. Maybe I can actually vote for him instead of against his opponent. But for now, we live in a world where Joe Biden is simply the anti-Trump vehicle for a lot of legitimate American frustration. But if he wins, don't you dare let him tell you that he has a mandate to enact a neoliberal vision that the people have rejected.